Hello, pre-calculus. I got a real quick video for you today. We're going to be looking at the probabilities using permutations and combinations. So hopefully you know how to calculate permutations and combinations, and we're going to use that today. Actually, we're only going to use combinations, but maybe the permutations might come up. Anyway, here's how we have to get started. The definition of probability. Remember that the probability of some event, so like this is the event, probability of an event equals what we call the number of favorable outcomes divided by the number of possible outcomes. And this numerator could be thought of as the number of elements in the event. Like that's a favorable outcome. It's got to be one of the possibilities that makes this true. And then the possible outcomes, you just have to calculate those. But this becomes just a counting problem. So we really have two key examples here that you're going to need to know how to do. And the first one involves flipping coins. So this problem says, I'm going to flip 8 coins, find the probability that exactly 3 of them land on heads. So I have 8 coins here, and I think if you can see, 3 of them are on heads. Right here, and right here. How would we calculate that probability? The probability of 3 heads, just to kind of make a note of what we're calculating the probability. Now we have to calculate 2 things. How many ways is there to get 3 heads? Remember, if there's 3 heads, all the rest of them are tails. And I could think about this as a word, just like we did before. So there's going to be heads, 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 3 of them are heads, and then 5 tails. So that's 8. So then I get to like say, how many words can I form with that? So let's place the heads in the location. This is just one possible way, but that's not the way I have. I have a different way, but that's one possible way. How many ways is there for that to happen? Well, I have 8 locations for the heads, and I'm going to choose 3 of those locations for the heads. So I have 8, choose 3, and that gives me the number of ways I can place the heads. Now, once the heads are placed, the tails are already placed. But if we wanted to include that, we would say, let's place the tails. Well, there's 5 places left, and I'm going to choose all 5 of them to place the tails. And there's just one way to place the tails. Now I'm going to do the denominator. That's the number of total outcomes. So I have to say, well, how many outcomes are there if I flip 5 coins? And this is actually not a permutation or a combination, because I might think that there are 8 locations, and I want to say, well, what's the possibilities for the first locations? There's actually 2 possibilities. So the number of possibilities is 2. And then for each of those, there's going to be 2 possibilities for the next one, and 2 for the next one, and so on. So there's just 8 of these 2's that I'm multiplying together. And that means that I've got 2 to the 8th power. Okay, now I'm going to just calculate that. Now, I like to use my calculator for this, and you're welcome to do that, or you can write it out using the formula. When you do the Khan Academy, you cannot give them a decimal. So do the numerator and denominator separately, then you're going to have to reduce it. Remember, to do that on my calculator, I'm going to have to do the 8 first, and then I'm going to select from the probability the NCR, and then I'm going to enter the 3 next. So 3 of them are going to be heads. So that's 56 for the numerator. So this equals 56, and then 5 choose 5 is just 1, and divided by 2 to the 8th power. On the calculator, I'm going to enter 2, and then that caret gives me the raised to the 8th power, remember, and that is 256. So the denominator is 256. Now for Khan Academy, you're going to have to reduce this. Now on my calculator, I can get it to reduce this into a fraction. I'm going to do 56, and then the ABC key, and then 256. And that enters it in as a fraction. If I hit enter, it's going to be 7/32. So the probability that we get 3 heads is equal to 7/32. The next example that we're going to do is, it says, in a class of 17 students, there are 10 boys and 7 girls. I wonder what class that is. If I pick 4 students at random, what is the probability that they are all girls? Okay, to find this probability, I'm going to count the number of ways. So I'm finding the probability that I have 4 girls in my group. So the number of ways to choose the 4 girls out of 7 girls would be 7 choose 4. That's the number of ways to choose 4 girls from 7. So that's all the combinations of girls I can have. Now I'm going to do the denominator, which is the total number of outcomes, and I'm going to say, well, how many ways is there to choose 4 students from the entire class? So that would be 17 choose 4. So I have 7 choose 4 that I want. 17 choose 4 is the number of possible ways. Okay, so let's calculate that. Go ahead and do that on your calculator. When we calculate this, we get 35 out of a total of 2,380. Now I want you to do this other problem. So let's just say this is A. For B, I want you to find the probability that all 4 are boys. Okay, that would be, there are 10 boys, so it's 10C4, and then I'm going to say that 17C4, still the number of possible ways here. So that's 210 divided by 2380. And that would be 3 out of 34. There's a lot bigger probability that I get 4 boys than 4 girls in this class. Anyway, that's it. And now go ahead and do that Khan Academy. You should be able to do that. They have just these 2 types of problems.